Well, hello dear viewers, this is Wolf, and welcome to Level Up Reviews. Today we shall review Ultima 5 Warriors of Destiny. Last time we left Richard, he had created his magnum opus, Ultima 4 Quest of the Avatar. Ultima 4 is quite a distinct game from other RPGs. Instead of going out to kill a big bad, world-destroying monster somewhere, you go out on the journey of spiritual enlightenment and become Avatar, a spiritual figure, savior of world of Britannia. Richard even came up with morality system, an 8 virtues, standing on 3 principles of truth, love and courage. Ultima 4 is truly an amazing game. And how do you follow up such an amazing game? Richard thought of the brilliant solution to twist all of the virtues, to make them primary problem of the game. And in the way, this game is a better answer to the fundamentalist critique, showing that absolutist view of morality creates more problems and leads world to disaster. Ultima 5 was developed on Apple II, as Richard thought that Apple II was superior machine to the other computers on the market at that time. But unfortunately for Richard, IBM PCs were cheaper and more in use. So that meant if he wanted any profit from these games, they have to make them on IBM. So Origin had to redevelop games completely from scratch for IBM PCs. What's worse is that they had absolutely no experience of developing any games on IBM PCs, so they learned as they programmed. To do this venture, Richard and Robert invested everything they owned and even went millions of dollars in debt to finish this game up. This is the last game where Richard did majority of the programming, and you can see why, because quite frankly his entire livelihood was on the line. If the game didn't came out on its release date, then they would run out of the money and game would never come out. To illustrate just how stressful the development was, Richard, in his book Explore, Create, writes that he would curl up into a fetal position every time that numbers were spoken about, as he thought they would definitely run out of the money. By the way, I would definitely recommend to read the book. Luckily for him, the game actually managed to come out on its time. It even had a re-release in 1993 on NES. But initial release was not without problems. You see, game had to be installed on hard disk drive and not played on the floppy disk, because it was impossible to finish the game with floppy disk. You see, Origin didn't even test the game on the floppy disks. The problem was, only 10% of the people who owned the computers owned hard disk drive. But again, luckily for Richard, majority of those 10% were video games players. So out of 100,000 copies shipped, only minuscule number returned for the refund. The Origin was saved. Ultima 5 was a huge advancement from earlier Ultima games, but it was still received with mixed reviews. Well, let's get to the game and see why. You start the game by creating your character with the usual tarot card reading, or this time you can transfer your character from Ultima 4 with an experience bonus. Graphics here show extreme improvement, and when you start the game you even get a cutscene which explains the whole story. Well, basically Yolo and Shamino summon you, and you're immediately attacked by Shadow Lord. After repelling them, you go to Yolo's hut and receive information on what's happening. Basically, Lord British went down to Stygian Abyss and disappeared. In his absence, his regent, Lord Blackstone, took over, and he's basically corrupted by Shadow Lords, a creatures born from shards of Mundane's gem of immortality. There are 3 opposite representations of truth, love and courage, falsehood, hatred and cowardness. But corruption of Blackthorn does not reveal itself by denying 8 virtues. Oh no, it's on the other way around. Blackthorn views these virtues as an absolutist. People who fail to follow even little bit of these virtues are severely punished. There are different factions in the world this time around as well. So world feels more alive. You meet resistance members, who you can even join. There are also Blackthorn's agents, called Oppression. You see, Great Council sealed all the dungeons. The mages from the Great Council know the words of power to unlock them, which you need to free Lord British with. So they want them dead, of course. You can even join the Oppression if you want. The battle system is very clunky and the magic system is overly complicated. You will need to gather all the reagents to cast the spells, and then you need to use word combinations, so you will need to keep a chart in front of you all the time, if you have a bad memory. You can also meet and pick up your old companions and some of the new ones as well. And when you gain enough experience to level up, you will just need to rest and wait for Lord British to appear and level you up, but it happens completely on random. You will also need to meditate on the shrines as usual. Mantras are all the same from the last game. Also, Bandai the Mage will give you information about Magic Carpet if you tell him about Smith the Talking Horse, who is in Yolo's hut, as its second appearance in this game. First is in Pause in Ultima 4, but now he has important information and hints to give you. For Ultima 4, that is. So, good luck with that. Anyways, you get all the words of power to unlock the dungeons. From the dungeons you can access the underworld. And by the way, dungeons in here look awesome. Just take a look at them. First thing you need to get in the underworld are shards from Mundane's Gem of Immortality. They're essential to destroy the Shadow Lords, and in fact that's how they were created. You meet Captain John, who will explain this to you. Basically, he and his companions were stranded in the underworld. He found the shards and was driven mad by them. He killed 3 of his companions and spilled their blood on the shard, and basically from this ritual, Shadow Lords were born. You will need to summon each Shadow Lord by calling out their name in the city which is dedicated to the opposite virtue of whichever Shadow Lord you need to destroy, and afterwards you throw the shard into the flames, and that's how you destroy each Shadow Lord. To free Lord British, you will need a couple of items as well. You will need his scepter, which is in Stonegate, his crown at Palace of Blackthorn, and be careful here, Black Badge will come in handy. There's also Amulet in the underworld. Fourth item is Sandalwood Box. It is in Lord British's room. It is hidden, and the only way to unlock it is by playing Stones. Yes, the legendary music from Ultima, Stones, appears first time in this game. Bard Kenneth even teaches it to you. Or Kenneth Arnold, who wrote the music. Anyways, you go down to the underworld and free Lord British. After you return to the Earth, you discover your house is robbed. A sign that Quest of the Avatar only just begins. That night, you see a dream and find out the fate of Lord Blackthorn, who has chosen exile to atone for his own sins. Ultima 5 Warriors of Destiny is a hard one to review for me. It's introduced great innovations to the game, and many stables in Ultima. It also saved Origin systems from going out of business, but it's more of a transitional game, and it suffers from many shortcomings and clunky gameplay. In many ways, it is inferior to both its predecessor and its successor. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment. Thank you very much.